2 years as a position coach, probably, I mean, you go kind of blocker, you have the best player in the nation at the position, too. Last year, obviously, running game didn't work out how you wanted to. What's year 3 look like?
Year 3 has got to be better. There's no excuses. The continuity of our staff. We've been together. This is going on year 4 now. Obviously, so there's no excuses. For us, we got to do a better job. Obviously, teaching, motivating, developing, and obviously our guys got to take some ownership as well. But I do think that we're in a good position right now. These guys had a great spring. Obviously, we only had one new addition, obviously this summer, but for the most part, I think we're in a good spot, and guys have been working hard, and they understand as well that last year can't happen again. There's a standard at Michigan State when it comes to running the football, and for us, we got to uphold that standard every day at practice. And I think these guys have answered the bell, and it's going to be about being consistent from here on out, and we're going to do it on Saturdays as well.
In those past 3 years, 6 transfer running backs, how have you guys been able to adjust and adapt to that? Is that something that you were able to build off of with Kenneth and Harold coming and kind of use that as a blueprint?
Yes and no. Obviously, you love to get high school guys and develop them. But the way the roster was set up, and with guys obviously losing guys early on, like Elijah left, and some other guys here and there. Us transitioning and moving Connor Hayward to tight end. So numbers get down, so you got to fill spots early. You want guys who've played football before, and guys who've put it on tape that they could do it at the college level. So I think Kenneth. We got blessed with him. He was a phenomenal player, and no one expected him to do what he did, but he did, and he went out there. He's probably the best player in college football. But for us and for me, I would love to get to the point where I'm developing younger guys. That way, I can stagger the room a certain way. But if it takes a transfer for us to win, that's what it's got to be.
It kind of follow to that. I don't think you've had 3 guys with this much experience.
No, not yet. And that's what the most exciting part about it. You got 3 guys in the room. Well, really 4 if you include. You got Nathan Carter, Jordan Simmons, who's been here 4 years. Jaron Mangum, who's played a lot of football, and Jalen Berger as well. I think that's the biggest win that we have in our room. A lot of guys who've played a lot of football, who've done a lot of things well, and they all bring a lot of different things to the table. So that's what I'm most excited about. And the maturity level, I could handle things and talk to these guys a little different than I can a younger guy like Barber. I could get it a little more in depth with teaching, and obviously understanding the football and the running back position a little deeper with these guys because they've seen a lot of football.
I've heard coaches say before that it's really hard to play 3 guys in a game accurately as much as they would like to play. Are the players kind of aware of that in the competition, that really a couple guys are going to emerge and be the guys? Is that how you feel about it?
Absolutely. As a former running back myself, you want to go out there and have 30 carries a game, but it's all about what makes the team successful. You've seen teams, Georgia's done it in the past, LSU, a lot of other schools where they've had 3 or 4 guys rotate in and they've had success. Obviously you got to have guys who fit our core values, and one of our core values is selfless. If it takes you going out there and just being a third down back, well, you got to buy into that role. You may not get 30 carries, but whatever you could do to go out there and execute and help the team win, you got to be able to humble yourself and do it. And I think, I've had this conversation with these guys to get ahead of it as well, because I do understand it's going to happen at some point where guys are going to be, they want to be the guy, they want the ball. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting the W in the column. And for me personally, I got to put the best product out there for Michigan State. That's my job, that's the goal, and that's what has to get done. So whoever's helping us win, whoever's got the hot hand, whoever does it in practice on a consistent basis, that's who's going to play.
Is this the most competitive of your rooms then since you've been here, you think, Effrem? And what's that like as a coach?
Absolutely. Even year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, this is the most competitive it's been, and it shows up on film every day in practice. And we are grading everything every day. As far as individual drills go, as far as transitions go, it's the little details that's going to take us to the next level. And I think it's kind of open these guys up a little bit more to be a little bit more comfortable with each other, because now you're getting guys who are doing things they hadn't done in the past. Finishing a little harder, straining a little more. Pass blocking a little longer, catching the ball a little better. And I think that has created a lot of competition. And these guys know, if I slip up today, somebody's going to get my reps. So these guys have learned to bring it every single day. And I think, we're only on, day 3 or 4 of camp. If these guys can continue to do that to day 14 and 15, I think we'll have a good product.
From a mental toughness standpoint, when you were a player, talk about your approach to mental toughness then compared to this generation of athletes. Is it the same? Is it different? Is it a mix of both?
I think it's a little different because obviously rules have changed over time. I came up in the era where we still had 2-a-days and everything, and rules were a little different. Where coaches could be a lot more hands-on with punishment and stuff, and now you got to be a little more sensitive to certain things, which, I mean, I understand, that's the way the world is, so, us as humans, we've got to adapt a little bit. But, I do try to implement some of those things as well, as far as, being on time, being early, some of those things that do, take mental toughness, but guys don't really think about a lot. I challenge these guys on a daily basis, being on time, being early, even academic meetings and appointments and stuff like that, because, we use the example all the time. If I could trust you to go to class and be on time, well, fourth down, when the game's on the line and we need a first down, I could trust you there as well. It's hard to trust a guy who's not doing it right off the field. No problem.
Did you spend the offseason trying to look back at last year and figure out the things that did go wrong? What things did you pinpoint when you did go through that needed to change?
Well, we sat as a staff postseason like we do every year, and we go through and watch every clip, run and pass, from the year prior. And the one thing that I did, I wanted to take notes on, how detailed and disciplined we really were. And there were times where we weren't as detailed and disciplined as, as we should have been in certain situations, and I understood where guys were coming from, but at the end of the day, we have to be consistent with everything. If I tell you your toes have to be at 7.5 yards, that doesn't mean 7, that doesn't mean 8, it means 7.5. And so those little details are going to take us a long way. Same thing, if we're running some kind of zone scheme, your aiming point is your aiming point. Press the line of scrimmage, make the right read, make the right cut. And it's the consistency factor, doing it over and over again. Taking 2 yards, taking 5, taking 1, then breaking for 15, and letting the big ones come to you. I think last year we had an issue where, we were trying so hard to make the big play. Everyone wanted to be Kenneth Walker. We're coming off of 11-win season, obviously a Heisman Trophy candidate who probably should have won the thing. But we're coming off that year with that guy, and the next guy comes in, they want to be him. Well, everyone's not Kenneth Walker. You got to play your game. And guys was trying so hard to make the big play. Well, let's be consistent and do our job, and the big plays will take care of themselves.
With Berger, his name just really hasn't come up a lot. I feel like since last season, Mike Carter comes in, there's sort of a improvement thing to a degree. But what's sort of been his mindset, and is he any different physically or anything with this new competition and another summer here or winter here?
He definitely, did change his body a little bit. You'll see he's about 212, 215 right now, so he's got a little bigger. The thing about him, he understands that we brought new guys in, and I had to talk with him before we even brought these guys in, him and Jordan as well, just to let him know, obviously, to keep the room together that, yeah, we're bringing new guys in. And I told Berg, I'm not going to take anything from you, but you're going to have to earn everything. And I think he's answered that bell. Just like any, young college student, you have ups and downs. But I do think, over the past couple of days since camp has started, he's been able to answer it and, come back and, get ready to go. I think he's done a great job of stepping up, challenging him to be a leader, and obviously challenging him to be more vocal because that's not who he is. But if he can step up and do the right thing, well, obviously it's going to help the younger guys as well because they'll see him doing it right, and that's how you develop good young players as well.
With the offensive line being healthier, how much easier does that make your job as a players?
I mean, we love those big guys. Once they're healthy, we get rolling. I mean, that's a love lifesaver for a running back, So I think it makes my job a lot easier, and it makes my guys' job a lot easier. I think we have a lot of trust in those guys. I trust Cap completely, and I trust the job he's doing. And same thing with our backs. They trust the offensive line. This summer they tried to do a lot of stuff together. Going out to eat, maybe go bowling or stuff, trying to build that continuity and relationship. I think it's paid dividends because right now, they're communicating more, they're talking more, calling each other out when they're wrong. But they're doing it in a respectful manner where these guys are getting better, and I think they care about one another more than we did last year.
It was early in camp, but how have you seen them maybe create some separation for the running backs or just maybe some gaps, holes for them?
It is early, and I do think over time we'll see a little more separation. But for me personally, I'm just harping on the details. I do see separation in the details, guys who can go out there and do it consistently, and certain guys who, kind of have to slow it down a little bit. But I do think, I try hard to put guys in position to succeed at practice, give them a little bit at a time. We try to script every rep out, and I'll put a guy like Davion Prim, a younger guy, put him in a position, okay, today you're just going to do this. I want you to master this, and then we'll move on. Relative to other guys, older guys who've played a lot more ball, I could put them in 4 or 5 different situations and see how much they could actually handle. So that, for me, has been garnering more separation. Guys who can handle more, we're throwing a lot at them right now. Their heads are spinning. Like I'm sure Coach Johnson told you. And probably, a week or so, it'll all condense and you'll get guys playing a lot faster. And I think it'll be better for them as well.
Joe was saying it's a little early, obviously, but with Barber, to see a guy with his build and speed and everything, could you see him doing multiple things for this offense down the road as opposed to just being a straight running back?
You love that. I think we'd all love that because his speed's a lot different. He's probably one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest in the Big Ten. He can run. He can fly. He's a 200-meter guy. So, you see it, we've seen it all summer, him running and rolling. The thing about him is it's going to be about slowing him down. Everything is full speed. And, at the running back position, it's all about patience and tempo. We always talk about slow to, fast through. So we've challenged him all summer and even now to slow his tempo down and try to get everything in. He didn't have to read things in high school. It was just give me the ball and let me go outrun everybody. Well, it's the college football where everybody's a little faster. So for him, it's going to be about slowing the game down. And obviously, same thing I said about Davion. With him, putting him in position to succeed early and giving him piece by piece and helping him stack it up like that.
From Payne had seen so much with the 26 starts. With the new starting quarterback, whoever that is that putting even greater premium on pass blocking for your guys?
Oh, that's two main rules in our room: protect the football, protect the quarterback. No matter who's back there, we got to keep that guy upright because we knew our season's always different. If you lose one or two quarterbacks, the season's always different regardless. And so I think it has put an emphasis on it, but we're going to keep the same approach and make sure we do our job and keep any one of them upright, whether it's Noah, Caden, Sam, or whoever.
Who's your best guy right now? You got one play for Hail Mary in the game. Who's your best pro guy?
I'd probably put Jordan Simmons or Jaren Mangum out there. Probably.
Mason obviously has a different type of body, if you will, these guys. What does he need to do to kind of establish himself in that rotation as like a 1 or 2 guy?
The one thing that he's already done, he's established himself as a leader in the room. He's played a lot of ball. Obviously, he was with Coach Tucker previously at Colorado, so he knows the system really well. So it wasn't really for him to come in and learn something new. He played in the system before. For him to establish himself as a top 2 guy in the running back room, the one thing he's going to have to do is, 1, be consistent, and 2, use whatever trait that may be for him to separate himself. Whether it's being a 3rd down back, whether it's being every down back, he just got to establish himself as that and go ahead and do it. I do think, once we get in more situations, and obviously it's only the second padded day, when we get to the scrimmage situation and setting, we'll be able to see a lot more from all of these guys and be able to kind of define roles a little clearly.
You said obviously last year can't happen again in performance, but do you get a sense that there's even more pressure on the run game with the situation at quarterback that you will be breaking in a new guy?
I mean, there's going to be pressure regardless. I mean, this is a performance-based business for coaches and players, regardless of what happens. But, I don't look at it that way. I just think if we go out there and execute and do our job, we'll be fine. I think we've put in the work, and, our guys are together. Like I said, the continuity of our staff, we believe in each other, and all we have to do is go out there, stay healthy, and put a good product on the field. We'll be fine.
What did Carter show during the spring, and what have you done since then?
He showed me a lot of explosiveness, a lot of elusiveness, and he's definitely a very serious guy. I have to get on him time and time again about, relaxing, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to mess up. He tries to be so perfect every time, and I think that kind of hurts him a little bit, but he's gotten better at it. But he's very, he runs hard, he's physical, and he's a lot faster. He's got another gear than a lot of other guys think, so I think that'll separate him a little bit. He'll be able to give us some home runs if we get a chance to get those.
From Jordan Simmons started the Peach Bowl, I think a lot of people forget that. What does it say about him that he stuck around when a lot of people just pushed him aside, maybe in their minds?
Jordan's a great kid. No matter what happened, last year, the year before that, he stuck around and he's still working hard. You go out there and watch his practice today, he's still doing it how it's supposed to be done. He's going to class, he does everything right off the field. Phenomenal kid. I love Jordan. He comes in and works, and he bought in the role last year, with special teams. I think that helps Jordan go a long way because he's a team player. And I think that for him, the next step is just going to be, in the run game, what else can you do? You can't just be downhill all the time. He's got to be able to run out in space, get wide zone going, get some gap schemes going, catch the ball a little bit better. And he's worked on all of those things, all off season. I think Jordan is a guy who I'm completely confident will put in the game at any moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Effrem.
All right, I'll take the podium down and then I'll spread players around the room. Have the running backs coming over today.
How many are you bringing? 3? 4?
All right, we'll start things off with Jordan Simmons and Nate Carter.